Attention passengers. This is your co-pilot speaking. Your pilot is black mind, so you are not going blind and there is no power failure. You are merely experiencing the immense blackness of his proximity, and when you hear his voice, you and the cabin will get even darker than you are currently. We will be cruising at the speed equal to light, because the one other thing that travels equally fast is darkness. Your loved ones awaiting your arrival may not recognize you at first sight. This is normal. Simply tell them about the pilot, and they will understand. We will taxi to the runway now, so please buckle up and prepare for a high-speed departure. Thank you for choosing Jet Black Airways, where the phrase jet black is also a verb. We hope you keep jetting black with us until the wings and the wheels fall off. Justice forever.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To some of y'all, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. I'm going to let you all hear this. I'm playing this, but this should be protected under the doctrine of fair use. Here goes.
Takes to make this thing perfect.
That's your job, not mine.
I know.
Because I am your lady. If you don't take care of me, then just say bye.
Now let me say this. These video clips are so problematic that I don't even know where to begin. I'm not really trying to be mean here.
Yeah, she's not trying to be mean. Okay, I believe that. She's still trying to talk down to us and son us.
I just truly want to help these men to see logic and reason.
But she wants us to see the logic and reason of the Western system.
Now you see in the first video, a man that's looking to marry a foreign woman went to an event wearing a top hat. Brother, are you serious? A top hat? You look ridiculous.
Now, he kind of looks like he could be Dr. Dre's cousin. Let's say that he was in fact Dre and he showed up wearing a top hat. Well, it wouldn't be an issue. As a matter of fact, this man here could dress any kind of way he wanted to if he was in fact Dr. Dre. And granted, this is an actor from North Carolina. I know he's been in a reality series and this is one of those. He did make himself look kind of dumb. No, actually very stupid when he booked a vacation to Mexico and she never got on the plane. And he wound up spending that vacation in Mexico by his mother cuss word self. But let's understand something. Again, as I stated, gentlemen, the mistake that we've made has been nothing other than being too easy. When you're too easy and the Western hyena is too difficult, what that means is that you're not going to know what to do. So that means that you have to figure it out yourself. Therefore, all the blame's already been taken off of you morally, not de facto. They're never going to say, well, you know, we've been confusing to these men, sending mixed signals, and if he had been just a bit more famous, he could have done anything and it would have been a fashion statement and it would have caught on. Instead of saying that and admitting that, because that's how fickle they are, they turn around and start saying, well, you know, everything that you do that's creative and expresses your individuality is really just stupid and corny. This top hat was corny. It absolutely was. Now, these things are also scripted. These reality shows are in fact very scripted. And while the main plots may be real or not, the point is that people who run these shows will tell the participants to do something dumb to create drama, or they will edit the footage to create unnecessary drama. This is just a toned down version of that. Continuing on.
And you're clearly undesirable, but I'm sure that you've blamed black women for your lack of what it takes to attract them. Now, did you see how those foreign women were looking at him?
You see, it's always you blame us because you're not attractive. But then they want to tell us what to be attracted to and what to like and prefer in them. And it's always something that's easy, really easy. Like, I don't know, 200 excess pounds, pretty much all in between the knees and the rib cage.
Definitely not like he was a king. And they didn't seem all that submissive either. But maybe that's because he didn't have his wallet out.
Well, see, the reason they weren't submissive is because this was Ukraine and this was before the war. They got problems there. Absolutely they do. Keep in mind that one of the reasons for the war that's going on right now is because the Ukraine wants to be like the West. They want to be like Western Europe. And they can't.
I don't know. Then in the second video, where the brothers speak out about not receiving king treatment until they left the country, it's like, do you know how crazy that sounds? That you want something that you don't even provide to the women in your own community? When do black women at large ever get any queen treatment?
When you behave yourselves, when you hold up your end of the bargain for the guys that hold up their end of the bargain, that second part's very important. And when you choose for yourself instead of letting your friends choose for you. See, that's when sisters get the queen treatment. Pretty much when you don't act like a Western hyena bitch. That's when you get the queen treatment. This is why it is that in the US, Canada, the UK, Jamaica, Belize, Guyana, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, the Bahamas, you can't get this queen treatment. You cannot have it. And that, again, is because you insist on telling men to be traditional while you get to be modern. That's why you don't get it. Oh, there's another reason too, and that is the runaway materialism. You see, non-black men don't want you. That's clear as day. They tell you this. They tell me this. They do not want you. They do not see you as being equally beautiful, and if they do, it's something they have to hide. Kind of like the way you see light-skinned brothers or ambiguous-looking brothers or admixed brothers, and kind of like the way y'all used to see unmixed brothers, unambiguous brothers back in the 80s, or at least how you pretended to see them. It's pretty much the same thing. You know, you might like them individually, but you don't want to be seen out in public with them. That's how men of other races feel about you. If they do like you, they still don't want to be seen out in public with you. And the funny thing is that you have been doing this to black men for the longest. It's just that you started with black men that were academic and black men that were ambiguous after 1989. That's when that's to whom you did it. Later on, you started to expand this to everybody. Well, see, you can't get that queen treatment you're looking for because you have this runaway materialism, which is the real reason you're trying to run to non-black men, mostly specifically white men, the colonizer. Not another colonized man, no, but specifically the colonizer. And he knows his ancestors colonized ours, and he's looking and saying, well, she's not equal, and if she is, I can't act like I know that, so you know what, I'm not going to give her the same thing that I would give to Becky, or Karen, or Amber. I can't do that. Then he's got to put up with your attitude, which, though you will change it for him, you still have vestiges and traces of it that will come out, and he will see it, and he will say, nope, that those traces that he will see that you could not hide are going to be enough. That's why you don't get the queen treatment. Don't believe me? Go to the motherland.
And anytime a black man does treat a black woman with any type of kindness, decency, or queen treatment, he gets called a simp. Russell Wilson is a perfect example.
No, there we go, right there. Russell Wilson. Fuck the what, man? What are we dealing with here? Russell Wilson's a perfect example. No. Don't uphold him, and here's why I say that. Now, I agree with BGS that this situation is not everything that it looks to be on the surface for us. These are two celebrities. They don't live in the real world like we do. They do live in Hollywood and on screen, so to speak. And he had reasons for which he picked her, but the issue that I have is why she agreed to meet him in the first place. Let's be honest. Even though her imprint was a guy like him, she still went and allowed the worst to re-imprint her. Women, specifically black Western women, never go in the opposite direction. Once an idness imprints them, even if it's just an idness wannabe that imprints them, they never allow themselves to be re-imprinted by somebody that doesn't even want to be an idness. And mind you, keep this understood. Future ain't really that screepy. He's not as he depicts himself, and Russell is not as lame as how people see him. Neither one of them is really the way that they're seen. Russell is highly physically trained and disciplined. He did not walk Sierra away from that party when Future showed up because he was afraid that Sierra was going to go run to him. He was afraid that Future was going to say something out of pocket and he was going to have to break that dude's jaw. And as a trained athlete, he's more subject to be sued for stuff like this. Now, maybe Sierra would have actually gone and snuck off with Future or something, maybe. But that would have been sneaking off. See, they're always using him as an example because they're not necessarily hiding that which BGS has pointed out as much as they're trying to hide the fact that they know that Sierra chose this guy because he's not an idness. He seems lame, but it's because of the idness he doesn't want to be. It's still because of what he represents. And it's because she first reproduced with an ignis Negro, or a wannabe, which is even worse. But in other words, what she was saying is someone as innocent as Russell. I didn't say he's lame, but someone as innocent as Russell does not deserve to reproduce unless he's going to do so at the cost of being stepdad to somebody else's baby. She sees him as being genetically inferior, even despite the physical condition he has to be in order to earn the living that he's earning for her. That's what they don't want to tell you, but they keep on upholding him. Most of us don't even sit up and call him a simp. We call him, some of us do. I call him ignorant, because he doesn't know these games. And his mother's got the nerve and the indecency to have issues with Sierra, which she should, but to not tell Russell what the games are. No. Sit down and as best you can articulate, you tell your sons what these mother cuss word games are. What is it that you don't want them to know about you is what you need to tell them about others. My own mother tried. I understand that in Russell Wilson's mother's generation and in my own mother's generation, a lot of the vocabulary wasn't there. They could see what was going on, but they couldn't fully articulate all of it. I get that. But my own mother was able to sit up and tell me why it is that Russell Wilson's mother could not sit up and tell him what it is about Sierra that bothers her. Moving on.
But you want to go overseas where women are unaware culturally of your nature and pay them to pretend while you give them nothing but money and a wet behind. Okay.
Wait, what do the women in the States demand? Money and no wet behind. Money for nothing. That's what they're demanding. So what you're saying that they're doing is still a better deal for us than what you and your sister are offering in the West where you still live, where I've left.
Or using Thailand as an example where you know bang bang tourism is real. And
yes, that is real, but you know what else is real? White privilege. At least white folks' understanding of white privilege. And our understanding of our lack of white privilege. So that bang bang tourism, not only is it treated like it's legal in Thailand, even technically it's illegal even in Thailand, but not only is it treated by even the police officers as though it's legal in Thailand, but that's something pretty much that white guys don't mind doing, as long as you fuck the shuck up about it, don't get up in their face. Brothers don't feel comfortable doing stuff like that, as a whole. The brother's got to go there a long time, get used to the environment before he feel comfortable just tricking. And even then, brothers will fuck the shuck up and not say anything about it, for the most part. They'll talk about how they're actually treated.
And that's probably the reason why those women were catcalling that man. And you notice the theme is men who can't get women in the States or can't get them to do whatever BS that they're on, they say they're going to find women who are agreeable overseas.
Well, we have every right to do that too, because for number one, most men in the States can't get anybody, and that is the decision of most of the women. Because you're not choosing your own 15% that you might naturally like, and then your friend chooses her own 15% she might naturally like. What you and your friend are doing is you're both deferring to the collective hive mind sisterhood, hyenocracy, that tells each and every one of you whom to like, whom to validate, whom to treat like anything, and then whom to eliminate. And whom to eliminate is the same 85% plus, somewhere between 87 to 93% of men. That's what they tell you to eliminate, and you listen to them, and you obey them, because you don't want to go against the sisterhood. That's why you're making this video. You don't want to actually stand up to the sisterhood and tell them, listen, if it's my body and my choice, then that means I get to choose, not you. You don't get to shame because of something I chose in a man. Because if he was really that bad, you wouldn't try to shame him.
But that's not what the majority of these men are doing. They are going to pay to play, and then they are coming back home.
No, actually, the call, because you said this is Passport Bros. You titled it. There it is right there. You titled this Passport Bros. Exposed for the true motives, part one. Passport Bros do not advocate taking them back stateside. Passport Bros actually do what they can to stay abroad as long as possible, including living abroad. And by the way, Austin Holloman just shot your arguments down. He's been out for months, and you made this video 2 weeks ago. He's what y'all want visually, and he still had these games played on him. See, the games would have been played on me 3 decades ago because I'm ambiguous, and yes, I was told that this is what it is, in appearance. And it also the itness that I wasn't. But, I mean, hell, that wouldn't have worked anyway. Because that goes back to the ambiguity. Wait, you can't get a tattoo. No, you can't get gold teeth. No, you can't stand up for yourself and have boundaries and this sort of thing, and we respect them. We're never going to. So, what I would have faced back then, pretty much for appearance, but what other brothers would have also faced back then for being academic, literate, at their age level or even above their age level. Being well primed to go to colleges like Morehouse and come out with honors. Those brothers, we had these games played on us almost exclusively 3 decades ago. Now, your sisterhood has expanded to play these games on just about everybody. So even if these men can't get someone stateside, it's the decision that you all collectively make. To the extent that you do not even respect each other's individual choices, like you keep telling the world that it's about.
Aren't marrying these women. And if you do bring these women home, you can clearly see, like the video with the Caucasian man, that these women view these men as stepping stones.
But there's another thing I meant to tell you. See, this is why it is a Passport Bro started off as a black thing. Now, I don't know if it's going to stay that or not, but it's mostly brothers at this point. I hope it does stay black, but it's up to them. I'm not Passport Bro. I'm SYSBM. That is black by definition. I'm SYSMB. Most whites are not interested in Islam, and SYSMB stands for Save Yourself Muslim Brother. Shout out to Base Muslim for that one. Assalamu alaikum. So here's the deal. In Southeast Asia, if they do want to tell someone, listen, you're a wallet, they're going to say that to one of the colonizers. They're not saying that to us Wakandans. And I'm only using these terms symbolically. Generally speaking, that's not what goes on. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons why we like Southeast Asia as a whole, whether it's the Muslim or the non-Muslim parts, is because we are actually preferred even if we don't have the same amount of money. Now, when it comes to these Wyatts and they go into Southeast Asia, they may be wanted for their prestige, they may be wanted for their money. It could be either one. But one thing I do know that happens, because I've seen it happen in both East and Southeast Asia, is that they get used. They actually do have to pay. There's one guy, he was the first American male with whom I ever worked at this job. When I first got into this country, and I was in one of these really Bedouin areas. I mean, the city was just big enough to have an airport. That's what it was. Well, as I was there was this one American guy. His name was Mike, and his last initial was T, and I would call him Mike Tyson because he liked to watch boxing. He looked like he may have been a boxer back when he was young. He decided he wanted to just be called by his last name, and I said, okay, that's fine too. So I respected that, and I was later told by a Canadian guy, yeah, Mike was hoping you would start a fight about that, and I was like, why would I? It's his right to be called by his last name or his first name. Yeah, but he likes to pick fights with people, just watch. Well, here's the thing. This guy later did pick a fight with a Canadian fellow, and the Canadian guy was skinny. And Mike, whom I used to call Mike Tyson, got his butt whooped. He got that mitts put on him. And he was talking about call the police, and the school administrators, or rather the university administrators, they had him in the office saying, we're not calling anybody. This was a fist fight that witnesses say you started and you lost. We're not calling the cops for that. He can call them, but not you. Absolutely not. You're going to get in more trouble if you call him. It's up to him. It's up to the other guy because he defended himself. Students and teachers saw this. Well, this American guy, here's the funny thing. After he got whooped up on by that Canadian, he got moved to Tabuk. The company did not kick him out like they should have. They moved him to Tabuk. And Tabuk's on the border with Jordan. Well, he got ready. He was working nearing the end of his time, and he saved up about 10,000 US, and he was going to get that severance package as he resigned. So he transferred that money to his girlfriend in Thailand, and she vanished. She was supposed to hold it for him, and then he'd get to Thailand, and they would enjoy the money together. And she vanished. She vanished. He couldn't find her. He wrote back to the company, tried to cancel his resignation so he could stay working some more. They said, no, you out, bro. Bye. You already resigned. We've already processed your final exit visa and everything else. Go. Plus, he'd had that fight, and they gave him a second chance. When he resigned, they weren't going to give him a third. So you see what I'm saying here? This white guy, he had to pay to have a girlfriend. Two other Canadians I know, one married to a Filipino and the other one married to a South Korean. Both of them were pretty much being used. shines over there in the Philippines, and you know what they're not being necessarily, and that's used. I shouldn't say shine, but shining black men. I tend to use that as a compliment, but I forgot the historical significance at first. So yeah, we actually don't have to sit up and pay them to like us. The ones that are doing the catcalls, whether they are whether they're selling the box or not, the ones that are doing the catcalls are doing them because they want that dude, even if they want to collect from him afterwards. Should men pay for box? No. I'm not advocating tricking, I'm not advocating fornication, but the point is this: that same street where that man is walking is not an empty street. If it was, those women wouldn't be there. I've seen another video, ma'am, and in this other video, you had a bunch of brothers walking. Now, I'm talking, we got a bunch of brothers with muscles and dreadlocks. You think everybody would be scared of, right? Especially if they only see us on TV. You think they'd be scared of. No, these women were coming out these clubs and pulling on them. Now, there were a whole bunch of other men from all over the world walking by, but they came out and pulled the black men in broad daylight into these bars and restaurants on the side of the street. That's what when they see that, that's what they actually want. So don't conflate these two. In the eyes of the Southeast Asian woman, the black man and the white man are not the same.
Nothing more, nothing less. That's why she said, if you can't pay for me, then buy. The men in this movement are largely undesirables or men that want to use a woman freely without her giving any pushback.
Well, most men are undesirable to you, and even the men who are, you're not going to necessarily show them that they're desirable if your hyenocracy does not approve of them. And they're not going to approve of most. And then you say, oh, they're guys that just want to use women without any pushback. Most men, because they're undesirable and are treated as undesirable even by those who find them desirable, don't have a concept of being able to use women without any pushback. We don't think that's something that can happen.
Then in another video, you see yet again another undesirable acting as if his presence will be missed. Sir, there were no women checking for you in the first place. Let's be for real, for real. At some point, you guys have got to look at reality. But I'm gonna make a part 3 to this where I talk about the secret reason why some of these men are getting passports and also the effect that black men are having on the women in those communities overseas. But y'all let me know what y'all think down below.
I'll do you one better and let you know what I think right now, which I've been doing. I can't wait to see what this secret reason is. Hell, you know what? I think I might just do that for the next one. What is this secret reason you got? Let me guess. You made this one 2 weeks ago. So you probably made that one more recently. Let's see here. Let's check it out. Let's see if it's even me. Wait a minute, wait. Hold up. Sorry, I just now saw this. Wait a minute. Undesirable. You got the nerve to talk about undesirables. Tell me this ain't you. Because in that thumbnail, right there, top left. You know what? Yep. Looks like the two of you are at least related. But this picture being bigger tells me right now, you have no reason to talk about somebody being undesirable. Cuss word clot. Okay, so let's see here. One day ago, so goodness gracious, your stuff is a mess. Is this your man? Giving him the very special treatment? If you like spoiling someone who'll appreciate it. You cannot make this up, as Mr. Samuels would have said. People try to criticize women for having standards and requirements. See, Sheila, you are what is wrong with the Western woman, and more specifically, the Western black woman. You have run your man off. You have scared him away. It's a damn shame that you got 222,000 subscribers. But this is also why there's a culture war. You've just shown it right here. There is a culture war because you represent what has led the community. Even if this isn't about black and white to you, you still represent what has led the black community, not even just in America, but in the West. And this is before I even find what you're going to say about this secret motive we have for going abroad. I can already guess what that is. I bet it involves a false accusation with legal ramifications if it's believed, right? There will never come a day, again, where as many of us as before will believe what it is that your side has to say, and there aren't enough of us to speak back and say something to the opposite and to challenge it. As a matter of fact, there's going to come a day when it won't even be 50% of black men that will believe this stuff. Then there will come a day when it won't be 50% of black boys who are still under your care that believe this. And when I say your, I'm talking plural you. Then there's going to come a day when 25% of black boys will no longer believe this stuff. Then there will come a day when the belief in this will be like the belief in Santa Claus. Most 4th and 5th grade black boys will know that this is cap. They will say this is just something that we have to tell our younger brothers and sisters still in kindergarten so that they can deal with the world the way they want to. But we know, and I'm talking 4th and 5th grade, there will come a day when no kid old enough to know that the parents are the only Santa Claus will also be old enough to know that this is crap, that the Western wicked witch, the hyena, drove them in a way because they wanted to have standards but didn't want the men to have them. You don't understand the damage you're doing to a lot of guys, and actually leaving may not cure them, and it may, but they definitely will be even more damaged if they stay and they try to build something with any woman that grew up in the West, whether she was born there or not. I say any woman because even though there are women in the West that aren't part of the problem, they're in hiding. We're not going to find them. Just like you said, any man that treats a woman well is called a simp. No, that's not. We don't call men simps for that. I love on my wife every chance I get. I adore her. Nobody's dared to call me a simp for that, but that's because I don't get disrespected, so I don't have to be disrespectful. And the funny thing is I had to leave the West to find that. And when I left the West, I found it twice. And I'm just one of a few. See, I ain't just making videos talking about this as a future goal, which is fine for men to do. I actually lived this and stumbled upon it after I'd already left. And I'm telling you, Sheila, the reason that you don't have someone is you. The reason that a man does not have someone is not himself necessarily. Doesn't matter what a man wears and to what event he wears it. As dumb as it might be, the fact remains that most men in real life don't wear top hats to events like this. Yet and still, there's someone like you that's going to criticize whatever it is that they do have on, even if it's actually very normal for that event. It could be a tuxedo event. Every man looks the same. Girl, you see how he look in that tuxedo? What's he supposed to look like? It could even be that. Meanwhile, there are men wearing prison uniforms. Girl, you see that man? And you all will you all will take correctional jobs to work at these facilities so that you can get knocked up by these dudes raw, bareback, cream pie. And then you want to turn around and talk about men in the free world are dusty and don't have nothing. And if this is not you, understand you are still up here representing and defending those that are exactly like I said. And just like I tell my students in class, if you are a good student, you came to me already bilingual, and this is just a formality for you, but you defend that rat bastard piece of shit student over there that cheated to get into this class and doesn't know even the basic sentences he was supposed to have learned in high school before he ever got to me, you become as guilty as they are. And that's what you're doing. Either you're like one of those cheating students, and that's why you're defending them. Or you're one of the students that doesn't really cheat, but you still feel some kind of loyalty to the ones who do, like they're real and you're not, so you still defend them. Your morality, your very understanding of honesty and morality is screwed up if you're willing to do that. Don't talk about we call guys like Russell Wilson a simp. Don't say anything about that. The truth is, you will take any woman that actually appreciates men and you'll call her a pick-me. And even if you, Sheila, individually don't do that, you are defending the very women that do. All I hear you saying is, it's okay for us to have standards, we queens, but you shouldn't have no standards. You should take what you got over here. Take what we give you. We should take what you give us. You all function as a sexual, romantic, and marital labor unit. And y'all came to a unanimous agreement, even though you don't even like each other, you hate us so much that you came to a unanimous agreement that you all were going to be low quality and demand high quality in exchange. And that there was no other deal you would offer. Now you're mad because men say, okay, we're gonna go abroad. Because they didn't unionize themselves like that just to trap us into the worst possible situations. Understand this, Sheila, you are so bad, and you're representing those that are so bad that robots can compete with you all. And I don't even condone it. But you got men that would get dolls or robots. Silicone, and circuits are winning because, not because you can't win against them, but because you simply refuse to even make the effort to compete against them. Thank you all for listening. Black heart, black mind, black out, assalamu alaikum, and as always, black heterosexual, non-select male power just because they don't like it, and black patriarchy till extinction or judgment day. You were free to move about the cabin now for a little while, afterwards prepare for arrival. I thank you again for choosing Jet Black Airways, where jet black is also a verb, and I hope that you keep jetting black with us until the wings and the wheels fall off. Justice forever.